So glad you could be with us. I pray that God will bless you with His Word today as we look at one verse. It's verse 28 of chapter 18. And you'll recall that he goes to the courtyard of Annas, and Annas sends him to Caiaphas. And then Caiaphas and his bunch take him to Pontius Pilate. So Jesus has been up all night in the cold, bound, and at least struck once. And now he's going to be tried before Pontius Pilate. So verse 28, they led Jesus from Caiaphas to the praetorium, and the praetorium is the guard at the palace of the high priest. Most of the time he was in Caesarea, but anytime that there was some kind of a holiday or some special occasion, he would be in Jerusalem because of the potential of an uprising when a bunch of people come together. And so he's in Jerusalem, and he has the Praetorian Guard, and he's probably having his first cup of coffee. They led Jesus from Caiaphas into the Praetorium, and it was early, and they themselves, I love this, did not enter into the Praetorium so that they would not be defiled, but might eat the Passover. First of all, nowhere in God's law, in God's word, did he ever tell a Jew, you're defiled, you're unclean, you can't participate in a Jewish feast because you've been in the house of a Gentile, or that because you've touched a Gentile. That was something that the rabbis came up with. That is not something that God said through Moses. Frankly, folks, it's racism. That's exactly what it was. It was a prejudice against Gentiles, which is why it was a really big deal whenever the Jews in the first century saw Gentiles come to faith in Jesus Christ and came to realize that God made them one people. And by the way, the genuinely saved Jews thought that was wonderful. But here they are. They found no reason to have Jesus crucified except for the fact that they felt threatened by him. They could come up with no sin. The only thing they could come up with was that he said he was the Son of God. And in one of the Gospels it says, oh boy, we don't need any more witnesses now. And Caiaphas tears his robes like he's just really upset. And actually, what did he say in John 11? Well, Jesus needs to die for the sake of the rest of the people. So, such hypocrisy. So what do we have here? We're going to have the most innocent man who has ever lived crucified. But we're going to be very, very careful not to defile ourselves by being in the courtyard of a Gentile. Jesus put it really, really well in Matthew chapter 23. He said, you Pharisees strain out a gnat and swallow a camel. That's exactly what they were doing here. Oh, we don't want to be ceremonially unclean, but we don't mind being morally disgusting. Once again, is it in God's word to show us how bad they are, or is it in God's word to talk to us about human nature? We should always say, Lord, keep me from drifting that direction, making a big deal out of ceremony and external this and that, and not letting you judge the thoughts and intents of my heart. Have a wonderful day.